Hey, so I figured I'd make a video on this setup that I used to do the new Tektite hover in Ocarina of Time 3D. So a lot of people find this trick really difficult, but it's not that bad. And I'm going to explain my setup. So obviously first you need to damage down to half a heart in order to do the infinite sword glitch. Now what I try to do is I try to get the Tektite right here. You see how Link is standing right there next to that bush over there? Yeah, so I want to first get the Tektite to here. But here, this can be inaccurate because what our goal is to get the Tektite going to this dark line texture here that's right next to this bush. And that way, the Tektite's position for the hover will be consistent. So obviously I'm going to get out of the way. Then I need to get the Tektite right here. So one thing that's important to note is that I'm standing under a specific texture, and it's this texture right here. This is the texture that I'm standing under in order to get the Tektite into the spot that I want. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up when the Tektite goes, jumps. I'm going to throw the rock, and then I'm going to pull out my sword and get into a specific position. Alright, so you see how there's this dark line texture right here? I want Link's right foot to be on the tip of that texture. And then I'm waiting for a certain frame. And I think it's this frame. So when I jump slash, I should get the damageless ISG. So I have ISG, and yeah, it's damageless. So right there, I just managed to get the infinite sword glitch. And now we're gonna bring him up the mountain. Sometimes you may have to adjust, depending upon how far back or how close you are. You might need to home buffer at a different frame. But generally it's it's not immediately after the Tektite gets off the ground, but it's right after he initially gets off the ground. So we're gonna maneuver him over here. One thing that's important to note is that this trick is actually not that hard to do. It's really not as hard as many people make it out to be. So right here, after he jumps 5 times or so, I go over here and I try and get an angle. So in order for this angle, I don't necessarily want to see too much of this left wall here. If I see too much of this wall, an angle that means that my angle is too far to the left and I need to adjust my angle to the right. An angle like this is good when you sort of are perpendicular to the fence right beside you, but not exactly perpendicular. Nice camera. Alright. That's alright. Anyway, so yeah. Nice. What you want to do is you want to keep holding L and R while you're in this, and we're going to go back and get the Tektite that we lured up the mountain. Lured. Sometimes you might get a little far. Ooh, that guy tried to run away completely. Alright, so now I stay relatively close to him so that way he keeps doing these larger leaps instead of the smaller ones, because I want to get him to basically get up against that wall. When he gets close, I do a backflip, and then in order to get liftoff off the hover, you see those 2 bushes right there? It's a little hard to see, but if you scroll back or rewind the video a little bit, you'll see that there are these 2 bushes. I sort of try and get in between them do a backflip in order to get the initial height, like the initial hover, and then after that I need to do another backflip in order to have enough height to stay hovering. I'll show it again. Nice hover. So yeah, I get this tektite against this wall. Do that backflip, get in between those bushes, and do a backflip to get an initial hover, and then do another backflip. And now you basically just start doing backflip hovers when the tektite gets close to you. Here, like you can see, like you can sort of tell that you can get one more hover, but here you can tell that the tektite is having a really hard time reaching Link, and attempting to do one more backflip hover will not be good. So what you want to do is you want to do a few side hop hovers. Oh, well, perfect. And I usually use this post as a visual cue right here. When I can first see the post after doing a certain amount of side hop hovers, that's when I'm done with the side hop hovers. Now all I have to do is just do a backflip, and I should get onto the mountain. So that's the setup that I use for the actual hover itself. One thing I'm going to do is I'm just a little worried because I'm a little low on health. So I'm going to get Zelda's Lullaby, or use Zelda's Lullaby to get the fairy, this Gossip Stone right here. I don't want to die demonstrating the next part of this trick. Alright, so now to do the final part of the trick, what I do is I get into this corner, and then first I need to get the seam walk, which I do by getting into this corner, targeting the wall, doing 2 side hops to the right, doing a side roll, doing a left side hop, doing a backflip, doing a right side hop, and doing a left side hop. And now Link is already partially on the seam, and by aligning, hang on actually, I'm gonna turn off motion controls for this part. What I do is I align like the tip of the A button with this dark texture here on the side of the mountain. And once I have that angle, or sorry, this dark texture right here on the side of the mountain. I realized I forgot to actually show it off. But yeah, now that you have this angle, you should be able to just backflip up the seam. And there you go. Now you're on the out of bounds area. Now in order to do the final jump slash, so first I go up past this dark texture here, and then I do Zeldolf's like setup in order for getting in. So if you look very closely, there is a like whitish texture here, and there is a faint dark texture of a line right here where I'm showing my mouse. What you want to do is you want to get Link's foot on the very tip of that dark texture, and that's where you want to align Link. So I have his foot on the tip of the dark texture, or a little bit to the right. It's not too precise, but I'd still try and get as close to it as possible. Now that I'm here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to inch forward, just so that way I can get a good camera angle. The camera angle that you want to use in order to get the jump slash is you want the bottom of the screen right here to be parallel with like this entrance to the Magic Fairy Fountain. So like you want to have like a decent angle. I'm pretty sure this angle will work. As you can see, the bottom of the screen is pretty parallel to that line. Then you start back walking up the mountain, and once you sort of start to go up, I usually like to go up for about 4 or 5 seconds, and then I release back walk. So I'm going up, and I'm going to release back walk now, and now I'm just going to like inch backwards until I can sort of, like until the camera pans back. So it just did. So now what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and inch my way off, do a jump slash to land back on the tip of the mountain, and then what'll happen is when Link takes a step back from his jump slash, I'm going to hold forward and do another jump slash, and hopefully I should land in the Magic Fairy Fountain loading zone. And that's the setup that I use to do the Goron Trail, or Death Mountain Trail hover.